Hello, everyone. Of course, I'm Jennifer from JForrestEnglish.com, and I'm very excited because today I'm talking with one of my students, Carl, who's in my training program, Speak to Impress. And Carl's going to be telling us all about how he became a confident English speaker. So thank you so much for being with us, Carl.
No problem, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. So why don't you tell everybody where you're from and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Quebec, the province of Quebec in Canada, which is a French province. And my first language is French, sorry. And I'm working for a governmental organization. And right now I'm living in Washington, D.C. Because of my work. They sent me here for 4 years. So I'm living here since 2018, almost 3 years already. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay, perfect. So your background, your first language is French, although you lived in Canada, Quebec. Now you work for the government and you're currently living in Washington. So right now, are you using English at work 100% of the time?
Yeah, no, I don't use English 100% of the time because it's such a big organization. I would say more than 50% of people are speaking French.
Okay.
Some of them they are French native speaker, and some of them they are speaking only English. So it's a kind of a good mix between both of them. So
Yeah.
and that's funny because in Canada most of the people they try to speak both language. French and English is the two official languages, and they try the English people try to speak French to those guys. They are there, and the French one try to speak English with them. So it's a kind of funny mix, but it worked at the end. So that's perfect for us.
Oh, this sounds like a good group, good mix. Everybody's trying to practice different languages or use different languages. Well, that's good. Now, when you're speaking in English, tell me what problems were you having with your English speaking skills?
Yeah, so the problem with my English speaking skills is because we are such a big organization and there's always a French speaker. They are perfectly bilingual, and most of the time we try to lean on them when we are difficulty to express ourselves or when we have like a situation that we need to speak in English. So that was my problem, and I was always leaning on people to do like a translate what was the command or what was the meeting was about or things like that. So I'm tired of it, and I want to be the guys who can translate the meetings and the orders to my other people working with me. So that's why I decided to join your program.
Okay. Okay. So if I understand correctly, before you would have to rely on other French speakers, but French speakers who I guess felt more confident and they would have to translate it for you.
Exactly. So some people in Quebec, like because Quebec it's a French province, but some of them they have opportunities on for going school in English. So those guys they are perfectly bilingual.
Mm.
So we try to rely on them, like I said, to when we have like a more difficulty to express ourselves. So yeah, that was my problem, my major problem. That was that exactly.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you obviously advanced in your career and made a lot of progress without having confident communication skills. So why was it important for you now to finally just to solve this, to improve your communication skills in English?
Well, I was always because I like you to communicate with people,
Yeah.
and like I was able to communicate, but just the minimum, just to get myself situated, and I was tired of it. So I said like. I'm gonna try to do some courses and try to improve myself to be a more confident speaker. and so I can communicate more efficiently with my coworker and also outside of work, because obviously here in Washington D.C. everybody's speaking either English or Spanish. So I'm not there yet in Spanish, but I'm going to start by English. And yeah, that was my main goal when I joined your program, Speak to Impress program.
Yeah. And did you find there was a difference between how you communicated at work, like your confidence communicating in work compared to your confidence communicating in a social situation in English? Or was it like the same problem, or did you experience different problems in those areas?
Yeah, no, that was I think it's a bad habit that I had before. Even outside in social activities, I was struggling as well, and I was shy. And it's like a turning wheel. Like you, when you shy, you don't want to push yourself to try to communicate with people. And when you do, sometimes you do mistake, and you realize you are doing mistakes, so you kind of shy to redo it again. So like you don't want to speak. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but it's like
Yeah.
a turning wheel. Like you don't want to like a one problem create another one and another one. So that was at work and outside of work as well. And I remember when I first arrived here in 2018, we met a couple of friends, but I was shy to speak with them
Mhm.
because of the same situation. So yeah, that was my main problem, I would say.
Yeah, and I guess it can be pretty lonely and pretty isolating if you're living in a city like Washington, but you don't feel confident speaking with people and meeting people and getting to know people because of your English skills.
Exactly, and because of a internet now, when you feel too lonely, you can just do like a Zoom video with your family in Canada,
Hmm.
and with your friend, things like that. So even if you feel a bit lonely, you don't force yourself to speak English because you rely on your family in Canada to like, try to change your mind. So, but yeah, no. Uh, Now I would like to get more involved in the social event outside of my community here in Washington D.C. Not only rely on my family back in Canada.
Yeah, if you're living in Washington, you might as well feel like you're connected to it and you're experiencing everything that it has to offer.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so I think we understand what you were struggling with and why it was important for you to improve your communication skills as well. So then we met, you decided to join Speak to Impress, and tell me, what was your experience when you started the program Speak to Impress?
Well, when I decided to join, I was really impressed by your by how quick you replied to my email, because I did some research on Google, and your name pops up, and I send you like a request for information, and within an hour or two, like you reply with a very personalized video, and I was really impressed. Like and you answered like pretty much all of my question, and I was really impressed, like honestly. And that was not just a generic video that you like some people send just to every request that they had. So I was really impressed, and that's probably because of that video that I decided to join you
Aw.
shortly after you replied to it. So I was very glad that I that you did that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And hey, notice how you said it impressed you. I was using my communication skills to impress you, and then you became one of my students. So just prove how important it is to have really effective communication skills and what you can do with it, what opportunities you can do with it once you have those skills, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I'm very glad that I did, because honestly, you are the best teacher that a student can have. And it really shows when we are doing your program.
And so tell us just about your experience in the program a little bit more. So, how do you feel that Speak to Impress actually helped you develop your communication skills and feel confident with your speaking skills?
When I started, I wasn't sure what was your strategy by recording ourselves in the 30 days speaking challenge. I wasn't sure at all what was the purpose of doing it. But after a couple of videos, I really realized how important it is to like hear yourself, and so you can understand what is your mistake that you are doing, and by listening yourself, you can kind of correct them on your next video. So that was one of the best. One of the first thing that I realized when I was doing my 30-day speaking challenge. And after that, we did uh, impromptu speaking. So that's really nice too, because you are kind of on the spot, like you asking us a question, and then we have to answer it really quickly and more like the most efficiently that you can think. And this is a nice skill to have too. You can use it in any kind of situation, even in my own native language. I can use it now because it's a communication skill that I learned with you on your program.
Yeah, and that's a great point because, of course, the program is focused on helping you speak English when it isn't your first language, but everything that you learn, all the skills you can use when you're communicating in your first language as well. So let's talk a little bit more about that impromptu speaking. So tell us about a time when you're at work and you have to use your impromptu speaking skills.
Well, when I'm at work, sometimes I need to go pick up a visitor that they came from Canada, and I need to go pick them up.
Mhm.
And most of the time, it's always the same question. But sometimes there's a tricky question, and like that's where I can definitively use that skill, because the quickness that you answer, like the more efficiently that you answer, like the person, the visitor, is really impressed by your answer, and he's feeling more confident of me driving him here and there. So that's a nice skill to have.
Yeah. And before you learned the impromptu speaking strategies and techniques in the program, how did you feel in situations like that when you had to pick up a visitor and they would ask you questions that you weren't expecting? How did you feel in that situation before?
Before, I was really shy. Like I was mumbling, and I was speaking very not loud, like very uncertain speaking. And like the person like was not paying attention because I was not interesting what I was telling them. But now being confident, it's very important, because now the person like is really focusing on what you said, and is very interesting of what you are telling them. So that's a very nice skill to have, and I like to practice it often since I have that skill now. So every chance that I have to practice it, I'm doing it, and I'm very glad that I learned that skill. It's very important for my work.
Yeah. And why do you think it's important for your work?
But it's important because most of the time when I go pick them up, I'm the first one that they see when they arrive here.
Mhm.
So that gives them like a good impression, like the professionalism of the our organization often rely on the first person that you see, in my opinion, anyway. And I like to represent them the best as I can, and having like a more efficient communication skill, I think, in my opinion, give them a better view, or I can represent better my organization.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you said, you're the first person they meet. You're like a ambassador almost. You're
Almost, almost.
setting the tone for their trip. First impressions are very important, and that's basically what we talk about in the program as well, how to make a really great first impression with your communication skills.
Exactly. Despite that, they know that in Canada there's person or people that they don't speak perfectly English. Like they understand that, but it's always nice to represent or your organization the best as you can, and especially when you are the first person visitor met at the anywhere, like at the airport or anywhere else. That's very important to, in my opinion, to give them the best that you can, and to represent your organization the best as you can as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you proved the importance of first impressions because you said the first impression you had of me when I recorded that personalized video for you. And it was just from that one first impression alone that you already made the decision you wanted to join the program even before we had a chance to meet. So that's the first impression, the importance of it.
Exactly, exactly.
And so overall, how would you say that your confidence speaking or your ability to communicate your ideas has changed before you joined the program compared to now?
Well, right now, I'm not shy to say that 200% better than I was before, and 200% more confident than I was before. Like it's day and night. Even my wife, she's perfectly bilingual, and like she noticed the difference just after a couple of days that I joined your program, and I was applying your tips and tricks, and it really worked. Honestly, my confidence level, well, she went to the roof right now. So I'm not shy anymore. I used to be like the guy doing the minimum communication that I could, but now like every chance that I have to communicate with my colleague or co-workers, I go ahead and I ask them question and I share my ideas, and that's really fun, like a fun feeling anyway, to be able to communicate properly with other people, and the other people understand what you are trying to say too. That's another very important things. You don't have to always repeat yourself, and that give you lots of confidence by doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad that even your wife noticed the improvement just after a few days in the program. And what do you plan to do with your new confidence and your new excitement to get out there to communicate and meet people?
Well, my next things that I would like to do, and since I'm more confident, is I would like to do a 15-20 minute speech in front of a big
Ah.
crowd. So I'm not sure yet where or when I'm going to do it, but that's my plan. So I will really able to have a long conversation or a longer conversation in front of a larger group. So I didn't choose the topic yet, and I'm not sure yet when I will do it, but that's my goal to doing it anyway. So 15-20 minute presentation in front of a larger group. That's my next goal.
That's an amazing goal. That really is. And I'm excited for you to prepare for that. That's going to be awesome. And do you think you would have done that or committed to doing that before you joined the program?
Oh no, never. I will never do that before. No, that will be probably impossible, or it would be very difficult to do it before I joined your course.
Well, that's an amazing goal that you have, and it's great that you're taking the skills that you are gaining in the program and you're using them in the real world. And that's what this program was designed to do. It's not a theoretical program. It's to give you the skills that you can go out and actually use, which is exactly what you're doing now. And who do you think would be a great student to join Speak to Impress?
A great student, that's a really good question. A great student for you will be anyone, honestly, anyone who desire to improve their communication in English or even in their native language, because the tool that you give, you can use them in any kind of situation. Obviously, you teach English, but the communication tool that you give us in your program, you can really apply them into any kind of a language. And any student that they would like to improve their communication skills, I really encourage them to join your program. It's a fantastic program, and the community are awesome too. Like I have nothing wrong to say about your community. A bunch of good students as well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what would you say if you had to choose just one thing? What would you say is your favorite part of Speak to Impress? I'm just curious.
I think my favorite part is the impromptu speaking.
Yeah.
Um, when you do your coaching call, because twice a week you do coaching call, and we can join them, and we can have the chance to practice what we learned during the weeks. And I think impromptu speaking, even if you're just listening, it give you tips on because other students sometimes they do mistake,
Mhm.
and you can learn from them. So you try to apply the tricks that you give to those students to improve themselves, so you can apply to yourself too. So that's really, I think, in my opinion, that was one of the best part of your program when we do those coaching calls.
Yeah, I agree. And the impromptu speaking is such a fun thing. It's so inspiring to see all the students using their communication skills. And honestly, I'm always so impressed by all you guys. I feel like I need to constantly practice my communication skills because you guys are getting better than me. And I need to make sure that I'm the expert here because you guys are just, you answer the questions so professionally and so impressively.
Exactly, especially at the beginning. I remember my first question that you asked me. I was like lost in my mind. I was like, oh my, I wasn't sure what I'm going to do. And after a couple of practice, like you said in your program, practice, repetition, and I can't remember the other word, like it's 3 words anyway. And you said like you're getting better at it. And that's really true. Like it's only by doing it over and over again that we are getting better. And after a couple of questions, I was feeling more confident, and I was able to organize my ideas on a different type of scenario. And yeah, so I really enjoyed that part for sure.
Yeah, and it's really amazing how quickly you can make progress just by doing the practice and the repetition. And almost all students tell me, their first question, like you said, they're terrified, their heart is pounding, they only get out a couple words and then they can't speak. But then the third time, the fourth time, they're like, oh, Jennifer, ask me a difficult question, that's too easy. And
Exactly. That was exactly my situation.
yeah, and you're there right now. I'm always impressed by the progress you make, but it's because you're a great student. You do the work, you practice the concepts, and then every week I see you getting better and better and better in those specific concepts because you're practicing them. And that's such an important thing.
I think you said the key word there. Like you need to practice and you need to be dedicated in your program. If you are just join it and just do it when you have time, like a spare time, like it's not going to work. You need to dedicate
Yeah.
yourself in that program and listen the advice that you give, and it really works. Like it works for me, and it works for lots of students that I saw in your program. And like we joined a couple students together, not together, but I mean at the same time, and we
Yeah.
can see like the progress that people do, like from the beginning until the time they reach the impromptu speaking, and then practicing the impromptu speaking. So it's always like a stairs going up all the time. So that's very impressive. But that's because people are putting effort into it and dedication.
Exactly. And it goes with anything in your life. The more effort you put in, the more practice you do, the more results that you're going to get. And with Speak to Impress, because it's public speaking, you see the results very immediately. You can compare how you felt and how you answered a question last week compared to this week. You can see the progress that you make, which I find just really helps motivate students because they see that they're improving.
Exactly. And despite the fact that we are not perfect because we're still learning, like this is not our first language. We have tools now that you give us to when we are in a hard situation, like you are searching a word or you're not sure how to
Yeah.
answer a question. So now we have tools that we can use to get yourself out of that situation. So that's that's another nice trick that we learn into in your program.
Yeah, exactly. Because then okay, maybe my vocabulary is limited compared to a native speaker, but I know what to do when I can't think of a word. And that will give you confidence if you go into a situation and no matter what question you're asked, you can answer it and you can answer it impressively, you will feel confident.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Nothing to add to this statement. That's exactly it.
Well, I'm glad I summarized it well for you. And I'm just so impressed with the progress that you've made in the program and that you're going to continue to make because you're going to keep practicing and keep practicing as well. So, thank you so much for being here and sharing your experience with all the other students so you can inspire them that results are possible for them as well. So, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Carl.
No problem, Jennifer. And have a good one, everyone.